Yeah, welcome back to Pauper Walkthroughs on MagicGatheringStrat. We don't have any production budget, as you can clearly see, and today we're gonna talk about Mono Red Burn in Pauper. This is a popular deck among grinders, because they like to play something that's fast. And one famous grinder is Johnny Hot Sauce, and we have based this deck on Johnny's deck. Johnny Hot Sauce used to play Burn in September of 2012, and so did we. When I wanted to make the monthly championships, the mocks, with blue-black Trinket control, I got 12 qualification points, and then my luck ran out and I could do nothing right, nothing worked for me, so I decided to play Burn and did three ones with Burn for the remaining 3 qualification points. I got into the championship and I lost badly, playing Seal deck M13. But enough with that, on to Mono Red Burn tactics. First I'm gonna walk through the deck, then I'm gonna go through cards that are not in the deck, and then I'm gonna give you the sideboarding options. So here is the deck. Let's make this visual. Yeah, first we have 17 land. We have 21 lands. We play 17 mountains and 4 forgotten caves for the cycling. I have tried playing Ursa cycling land as well, 1 copy, and that was somewhat successful, but I've now gone back to 17 mountain, 4 forgotten caves. Creatures, we are playing 4 Keldon Marauders. This guy is the Burn guy. He's almost in every Burn deck in all formats where he's legal. If he can hit, if he actually, in the 1 round he attacks, does 3 points of damage to the opponent. He's 5 damage for 2 mana, which is awesome, and 2 damage for 2 mana is really bad, but that's... He can also block and prevent an aggressive creature deck from overrunning you before you can burn them out. There's also Kiln Fiend in the deck, and Kiln Fiend just gets enormous, and he is often the reach you need for the deck to do the 20 points of damage. So when everything looks hopeless, Kiln Fiend will show up and just win. And looking at Johnny's deck here, I made 2 changes. I took out the Shard Volley, and I took out 1 Incinerate. I put in the 4th Searing Blaze and 1 Crimson Wisps. The Crimson Wisp, I needed more cycling, I felt, and the Crimson Wisps is a surprise for opponents most of the time. It throws off their calculations. I tried playing 2, but I went down to 1 again. This allows Keldon Marauders to do 8 points of damage if you can cast them with Crimson Wisps. It also allows for 1 big surprising Kiln Fiend hit. So I like people looking at my list and seeing this Crimson Wisp. They know that they're never safe. Okay, on to the Burn itself. 4 Chain Lightnings, 4 Fire Blasts, no surprise. I've been thinking about Fire Blast a lot. You can't sacrifice too many mountains. Often you will be able to sacrifice 4 mountains at the end of the game. Or 2. But never 6. Almost never 6. So drawing 3 Fire Blast is a disaster. But the card is so powerful that you still need 4 in the deck. Although I would rather take out a Fire Blast than one of the 1 mana burns. Flame Rift is very much the 60th card. It's great against control and storm. It's bad against aggro. It's 4 damage to each player for 2 mana. I tried playing with 2, didn't like it too much, but it's there. Alright, let's go down the list here. Lava Spike, 3 damage to player. Lightning Bolt, you all know what it does. Probably the best card in the deck. Rift Bolt is a lightning bolt that comes 1 round later. You almost never cast it for 3 mana, but it does happen. Often it's suspended and it's a great card. Searing Blaze. I've gone up to 4 Searing Blazes because I think that it works somewhat against control decks, and it's absolutely useless against combo decks. So if the metagame is storm heavy, you should go down in Searing Blazes, put them in the sideboard. But against all the aggressive decks, you really like having 4 Searing Blazes, because it allows you to not have to cast a real burn spell on a creature instead of the opponent. This allows you to have both. And you will have landfall maybe 60% of the time, so you can often wait a turn and then get landfall. And Stagger Shock is 4 damage for 3 mana, and can kill 2 different creatures. It's just very, very useful. And that's it. That's the simple deck. It's just burn to the face. Maybe the easiest deck to play in Pauper. But you need to know that unless he's playing a game-winning creature or someone that can stop all your burn, you always hit the opponent. And I'll show that in the game videos with burn. Looking at the sideboard, 2 Electrickery for for everything that Electrickery works against. Be careful sideboarding this in, because it will do no damage to the opponent. So that's why there's only 2, and you'll see which matchups I bring it into. We have 4 Immolations, and that's because of the Infect matchup. Infect is a very interesting, very fast-paced, lovely Magic game. It's the way I love to play Magic. It's boom, 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 just things happening. And the games are seldom longer than 3 turns. And you need something that kills Infect creatures and cannot be where they cannot be saved by Invigorate or something like that, or a growth spell. So Immolation solves that. So you have 4 Immolations and 1 Scar for Infect. Being an instant is somewhat more useful than being a sorcery. I could see this. Oh, it's red. Yeah, of course, there's nothing in red that's better than Scar except Immolation. So, and against Cloudpost and all the Pauper decks that think that there's no land destruction in Pauper, we pack 4 Molten Rains. It also does damage, so this is a key to the Cloudpost matchup. We pack 1 Pyroblast, and this is somewhat sketchy. We don't want to spend time destroying things, countering things. I could see this leaving the sideboard, but for now it's in there. Race is another anti-Cloudpost, anti-Storm card. Just quicker land destruction than Molten Rain. And finally we use Smash the Smithereens against artifact heavy decks, including Affinity, but not limited to Affinity. It also White Weenie and things. And before I go through the sideboard options that I have sort of sorted out, I might very well be wrong in those. I'm gonna talk about 1 card at least. There are probably other cards you would like to see here, and please mention them in the comments and I'll tell you why they're not in the deck. The one suggestion I keep getting is Needle Drop. Needle Drop does 1 damage to the opponent if you have damaged him earlier in the turn, and you get to draw a card. And this card gets stuck in your hand when you're playing against counterspells. So it's worthless. You should not play Needle Drop. Anyway, on to the sideboard plan. You will find a link to the sideboard plan in the show notes. And here is the sideboard. Against Affinity, we bring in 4 Molten Rains and 2 Smash the Smithereens, because Affinity, and I'm not always bringing in the Molten Rains. I haven't if I start, I bring in the Molten Rains. If I don't start, I bring in only Smash the Smithereens. So if I don't start, I take out 1 Flame Rift and 1 Stagger Shock, because most of his creatures are toughness bigger than 2. So I'm bringing 2 Smash the Smithereens. If I start, I take out 4 Lava Spikes, 1 Flame Rift and 1 Stagger Shock, and I take in Molten Rain and 2 Smash the Smithereens. In the mirror, I might not sideboard. I might take out Flame Rift and take in a Molten Rain. And I will be very restrictive in mulliganing against burn decks. Playing Delver. I really should translate these notes, I'm sorry for it, they are all in Swedish. Against Delver, I bring in the Pyroblast, the 2 Electrickeries. I take out 1 Flame Rift and 2 Lava Spikes. This note was from when I had 2 Flame Rifts. Because Electrickery hits Delver pretty hard. I've included matchups that I have encountered, and Elves was one I encountered. And that's easy, just 2 Electrickeries, take out the Flame Rift and 1 Incinerate, because Incinerate is expensive. Against Familiar Storm, I will go for Land Destruction and take in 4 Molten Rains, bring out Crimson Wisps and 3 Lava Spikes. Against Goblins, in 2 Electrickery in and out 2 Lava Spikes. Goblins is a really hard matchup. I'll skip Green Post. And here is Infect. So against Infect I bring in 7 cards out of the sideboard. It's 4 Immolations, 2 Electrickery. You see, this list needs updating. 2 Electrickery, Scar, and I take out 1 Crimson Wisps, 4 Lava Spikes, and 2 more cards. Is it really Fireblast? I'm not sure. What do I need to have against Infect? I think Fireblast, because Fireblast doesn't hit his creatures very well, and you need Infect is the one matchup where you need to burn the creatures. You need to get rid of his creatures, so he's stuck with burn spells. He's stuck with growth spells in his hand, and then you can kill him. Alright, on to Izzet Post. For Izzet Post we bring in Molten Rain, Pyroblast and Raise. We take out 4 Searing Blaze, and we take out 2 Chain Lightnings, because he can often send the Chain Lightning back in our heads, and we don't like that. Smash to Smithereens is tempting, but he has too few targets. Against Kiln Fiend We Dragonauts, you know Surukuk's Delver Fiend deck, you just don't sideboard. Against Mono Black Control, here we have the option of taking out our guys, and that's a very interesting option against control decks, because they have so much removal. And if you take out Kiln Fiend and Keldon, you will be they will be stuck with a lot of useless cards in their hands, and they don't really know if you're taking them out. So in this case, if you remove Kiln Fiend and Keldon Marauders from the deck, you need to bring in 8 cards. And I've opted to go for Land Destruction here to make their corrupts smaller. They don't have corrupt. It might be less useful. And I found the most useful cards are Raise, Molten Rains and Immolations. So that's what I'm bringing in, because Immolation kills their guys one-on-one, which you don't really want to do. But it helps you if you go creatureless. And you have the option there of doing nothing against NPC, and they might think you go creatureless. So if you go creatureless in game 2, you might bring the creatures back in game 3, etc. So you have that option. Against Mono Blue Control, you have an extremely hard matchup. All their counter spells are giving them life by countering your burn. So what you will have to do, and what you will have to do against Izzet Post if the game goes long, is to stack your hand. Don't play anything. Make your hand be 7 burn spells, and then cast them all beginning at the end of his turn. Because that's the only way to get through the counter spell Cloud. I'll skip Pestilence because no one plays it. Against Stompy, Jeff DMK told me not to board, and I probably will not. If I board, I'll bring in 1 Electricker and taking out 1 Flame Rift. Wow, and then against Storm, if you are entirely sure that they are grape shot only and he has no Empty the Warrens in his sideboard, this might be different. But we'll assume that there are Empty the Warrens involved. Either he's blue-red or he's Grixis but has Empty the Warrens in the sideboard. So what we'll do is that we'll take out Searing Blaze and we'll take out 2 Stagger Shocks. We'll bring in 2 Electrickery, as that card has replaced Seismic Shatter. We're taking in the Pyroblast, and for that's mainly for countering Ideas Unbound, but also other blue stuff. We're taking in Race, and we're taking in either 2 Smash the Smithereens or 2 Molten Rains. If you see a lot of artifact targets, oh, that's a crappy plan actually. Okay, if I did that now, I would bring in 4 Molten Rains, because the Storm decks are always light on mana. And I would take out 4 Stagger Shocks. I would not bother with Smash the Smithereens. Sorry for that confusion. Suicide Black on Earth. It's just 1 Seismic Shatter for Flame Rift, which is often the case against aggressive decks. So if we play blue-black Trinket Control, which might happen, and this is actually quite an exciting matchup. There is a slight favor for the blue-black Trinket Control deck, as it has 2 Sylvioc Lifestaffs, but it's not at all certain. So I would say it's 55-45 for the Trinket deck. We bring in Pyroblast, mainly for countering Muldrifters. We bring in Trinket Mages that are looking for Lifestaffs. We bring in 4 Molten Rains and 2 Smash and a Race. And we take out the creatures, basically, because the Trinket deck has so much creature removal. So that's the plan. I think I'm gonna translate this document and put it up in English on the link provided. Sorry for not doing that before the show. Against White Weenie, you have to counter artifacts. If they're playing Razor Golems, if they're playing other artifacts, they're playing Bone Splitters, of course. So if you see a lot of artifacts, bring in Smash the Smithereens. And what you're taking out are Flame Rifts and Lava Spikes, because Lava Spikes don't affect the board. And this is, of course, Electrickery. That's it about Mono Red Burn in Pauper. Please let me know if you have any questions, or if there is a deck you would like to see receiving a walkthrough. Before I leave you, I'm going to recommend 2 podcasts that are great for Pauper. The first is Pauper's Cage, and the other is Pauper to the People. Pauper's Cage is more spiky, and they have they go through tournament decks, like I have done now, but much better. And Pauper to the People is more casual, but there is some tournament strategy there. They are both great podcasts. You can find them on mtgcast.com and iTunes. And I highly recommend anyone interested in Pauper to listen to them, because they're just awesome. Thank you for watching MagicGatheringStrat. We have been looking at Mono Red Burn in Pauper Walkthroughs episode 2.